Well, good morning. Hope we all made it through last week. It is now module 5 or week 5, and I'm really far away from you because, as always, there's some technology issue, but at least you can hear me and see me. But the Zoom is not working, so hello from far away. Let's talk about the week here. Let's get this thing up and moving. Share my audio with you so you can hear better, right? Okay. Hey, there we go. Now let's pull up our module. Okay, hey, module 5. All right, so you should be able to see the module 5. We are going to start by taking a look at learning resources. All right, so this week is slightly different in that you kind of start something this week and finish it next week. Which is a little bit different than what you've had in the past, but then the readings are a little bit longer this time around, certainly longer than poetry, right? So this week, let's go to the overview. All right, so here's your overview for Module 5. You're actually taking a look at the genre of drama this week, which I have to make a little comment about. We ask you to read it, and that is not wrong. But drama was not meant to be read. Drama was meant to be seen. And I know a lot of you like the seeing stuff, so we are going to take a look at a couple of those shortly here. But again, reading gives you a different understanding of it because you're seeing the words and you're seeing the directions and that sort of thing. But they are not meant to be read. They are meant to be watched. So you might find that you will like them a whole lot better if you can find a good version and watch it instead. But you also know that, like I've seen many versions of Shakespeare. Let's take Hamlet, for example, as a drama. I've probably seen 50 versions of it, and all of them are different because every director makes decisions based on the things that they're doing. Sometimes they set the play in modern day, sometimes they set it in a different country. Sometimes there's just all kinds of creative decisions that directors make, and that is something that you'll keep in mind when you're talking about watching something versus reading. If you're reading it, you're seeing the instructions to a director, right? Here's how you should put on the play. But then when the director makes those decisions to put on the play in a specific way, they may change the feel and look of it, although not the intent. So keep that all in mind. And again, I want you to enjoy it. So first of all, just kind of enjoy the thing and decide if you like it or not. There's nothing that says you have to like something just because you're watching it or reading it, right? But kind of get that, like feel relaxed enough to feel like you can make that decision. And then you might want to watch it or read it again to do the analysis part, right? Okay, so you'll be reading the Trifles by Susan Glaspell. You'll be doing a discussion course for that. And then you'll also be reading Fences by August Wilson. Now, they mentioned that the film starring Denzel Washington and Viola Davis is an excellent version of it. Let's see, I didn't look up where it is located, but if you want to find out, let's take a quick look here. See if you guys can still see this. Let me stop sharing and reshare so that you guys can see what I'm doing here. Hold on. I gotta go back to figure out where you guys are. Goodness, I lost you guys. Pause for just a minute. Where are you? Oh, let's share that again. Okay, so one way you can find if where something is located is by going to IMDb. Probably most of you know that better than I do. There we go, IMDb. Okay. And it says at the moment the version with Viola Davis and Denzel Washington is found on Prime Video. So you may or may not have access to Prime Video. If you have an Amazon Prime account, then you can watch it right there. If you don't, and you click on it, you can start a 30-day free trial, or you can rent it for $3.99. So that's a potential possibility if you are one of those people that likes to watch something instead of read it. Okay. So you're also going to be reading at least 2 articles on the play and creating an annotated bibliography for the paper. Now the paper will start on next week. So this week you're going to be really focusing on getting a feel for the play. What's it like? Do you like it? Do you not like it? What are you seeing in it? Keep in mind, if you are going to cite a quote from the play, let me pull up something like a Word document here. I'm just going to show you a blank Word document and give you an example of how you might do that. If it'll pull up, it's very slow. So we're just going to give you a blank document. Okay, so if you were citing something in MLA from a regular play, so let's pretend this is a quote, right? Okay, so there's our quotation marks. A normal one might say something like, oh, I don't know the director for this one because I didn't look it up. Let's say Brown is the director. It might look a little bit different because you might have the word BIR after it. Okay, so Brown director. And then since it's MLA, you might have a page number, right? Now, in a play, if you're going to cite something by watching the play, you won't have a page number, right? But you might have a timestamp. So it might be something like, right? So at minute 13 and 40 seconds in the video that you watched, then you're going to say this quote is from that minute. So it'll look slightly different. It'll look more like this, the minute stamp. However the video does the minute stamp. So, you know, when you look down at the bottom and you see the minutes and how far along it is, use whatever minute stamp format that they have. If you're citing a quote from the play itself, and you'll probably have something like a director instead of a writer. Okay, so just keep that in mind. It's slightly different, not a whole lot. Okay, so that's what we're doing this week. Again, you're preparing for stuff. So learning resources, let's take a look at that. Notice again the EBSCO database stuff, and I'm going to make a point on that one again to make sure that you are familiar with that stuff. Make sure that you're familiar with annotated bibliography. Again, that is the source in MLA format, and then beneath it the annotation, which is a summary of what's in it. You know, is it scholarly? Is it a video? What's in it, right? We want to know what that is. It's usually a couple of paragraphs long. There's also web tips for writing annotated bibliography from these two, so don't ignore those things, but they probably are going to be things that you can skim because you're a little bit familiar with how you can do that. Okay, so that's excellent. Now I'm going to jump over to looking at, there we go. 2 other sources. One, the library source. Again, here is your library source. If you want to find some sources, if you are, and let's type in fences and Wilson, when you search it to see what we have in the library, you're going to see that there are 613 results. Not all of them are scholarly. Okay, so, and again, I'm searching all of these, we're searching everything, right? So if you want, well, we're searching Macmillan Library, so you can see over here where we are. If you want to search libraries worldwide, you'll have to click on that, or Indiana libraries, or academic libraries, or, you know, Fort Wright, Kentucky. I don't know where you are located. You're going to need to click on this if you want to actually hold it versus if you're online. I know most of you are probably doing things online. Notice you can see the ebook here if you want somebody to read it to you. I know you'll love that kind of thing, right? So there's lots of different options. Some of them are going to be at the actual source. Some of them are going to be articles written about the actual source. If you are looking for scholarly, oh, by the way, over here, first I want you to click on full text. That means that everything that you get is going to include the full text, and that's important, right? I'm going to search just Macmillan Library because that's where I'm located. So we're going to see what's here. Okay, so we have 613 results. We are going to make sure it's full text so I can see it all. And then I'm going to click peer reviewed. Peer-reviewed means I want, it's the same thing as meaning scholarly. So if I want some scholarly stuff, I want to click on that peer-reviewed button. That's going to limit it down to 348. And then you're going to see that there's some other stuff. So it might give you some help. Baseball, fences and gates. Okay, so essays on the drama of Wilson. So again, those are some tips for you. You can also search by other ways, like if you want to search by database or by language. Notice we only have English on this one, so sometimes we have other languages available. This particular one, we only have English. But those are some things you can do. The other thing you might want to click on or check out is something called Google Scholar, which is the same thing as Google, only does scholarly stuff. So if I type in fences and Wilson, I'm going to see that there are other results, 98,000 of them. Some of these I won't have access to. It'll say if I click on it that you have to buy it. Some of them are like this one, are books, are an actual book. So you may or may not want those, but you can, again, limit your stuff over here and know that these are going to be all scholarly or peer-reviewed stuff in Google Scholar. Notice that's, instead of just google.com, it's scholar.google.com. So same thing. So another option for looking for resources, okay? All right, now I want to spend this time that we've gotten this, let me quick go through this, the assignments. Of course, you have the discussion board. Make sure that you're following all of those rules for both the initial response and for the peer reviews. And then notice again, you are doing an annotated bibliography, and they do give you a bunch of sources here. So you can look at those without having to go search, but some of you will want to search anyway. And again, then the tech lab reflection. So that's how we're doing it. And then we'll finish up in Module 6 with the actual paper itself on fences, okay? So just so you kind of have a feel for how it's going to work. Next week is Thanksgiving week, of course, so that gets a little hairy, so keep that in mind too. All right, so let's dive into the fun stuff. First, I want to show you a little bit about Trifles. So Trifles is what we start with this week, and then we'll spend a lot more time dealing with the secondary part. So first of all, we're going to watch the actual prize-winning play by Susan Glaspell, Trifles. Here you go. You don't need to look through all that stuff.
I'm an actor representing Susan Glaspell. I have no place in this play. I, Susan Glaspell, wrote this play in 1916. I wrote about something that happened in 1900, something I covered in my career as a journalist, before I was a Pulitzer Prize-winning playwright. You'll recall that in 1916, women in this country did not have the right to vote. Yet here I was writing this little play. I hope you like this little play, Trifles. It is the first play I ever wrote. The play takes place in the kitchen of a very old farmhouse around 1900. You'll see Mr. Henderson with the notebook, played by Seth, he's the county attorney. Mr. and Mrs. Hale, they are neighbors, played by James and Sally. Leading them is Mr. Peters, played by David, who is also the sheriff. When I'm not in the play, my name is Belinda. In addition to playing Susan Glaspell, I also play the sheriff's wife in Trifles. And you can now call me Mrs. Peters.
They're hanging out right there. Moving out. You all right, Mrs. Hale?
Oh, yes, we have ice in our front.
It should be warmer inside.
This feels good. Step up to the fire, ladies.
Oh, I'm not cold.
Now, Mr. Hale, before we move things about, you explained to Mr. Henderson just what you saw when you came here yesterday morning. By the way, has anything been moved? Are things just as you left them yesterday? It's just the same. When it dropped below zero last night, I thought I'd better send Frank out this morning to make a fire for us. No use getting pneumonia with a big case on. But I told him not to touch anything except the stove. And you know Frank.
Somebody should have been left here yesterday.
Oh, yesterday. When I had to send Frank out to Morris Center for that man who went crazy, I want you to know I had my hands full yesterday. I knew you could get back from Omaha by today, and as long as I went over everything here myself.
Well, Mr. Hale, tell us what happened when you came here yesterday morning.
Well, Harry and I headed to town with the local potatoes. We come along the road from my place, and when we got here, I said I'm going to go see if I can't get John Wright to go in with me on a party telephone. I spoke to Wright about it before, but he put me off, saying folks talk too much anyway, and all he asks is peace and quiet. I guess you know about how much he talked himself. But I thought maybe if I talked about it before his wife, though I said to Harry that I didn't know what his wife wanted to make much difference to John.
Let's talk about that later, Mr. Hale. I do want to talk about it, but tell now just what happened when you got to the house.
And I didn't see or hear anything. I knocked at the door, and it was all quiet inside. I knew they must be up. It was past 8 o'clock, so I knocked again. And I thought I heard somebody say, "Come in." I wasn't sure. I'm not sure yet, but I opened the door, this door, and there in that rocker sat Mrs. Wright.
What was she doing?
She was rocking back and forth. She had her apron in her hand and was kind of pleating at it.
How did she look?
Well, she looked queer.
How do you mean queer?
Well, as if she didn't know what she was going to do next. It kind of done up.
How did she seem to feel about your coming?
I don't think she minded one way or another. She didn't pay much attention. I said, "How do, Mrs. Wright? It's cold, ain't it?" She said, "Is it?" And just went on clicking at her apron. Well, I was surprised she didn't ask me to come up to the stove or to sit down, but just sat there rocking back and forth, not looking at me. So I said I'd come to see if John wanted to put in a telephone. Then she laughed. Now, I guess you'd call it a laugh. I thought Harry and the team outside, so I said a little sharp, "Can't I see John?" "No," she said, kind of dull-like. "Why ain't he at home?" says I. "Yes," says she, "he's at home." "Well, then why can't I see him?" I asked her out of patience. "Because he's dead," says she. "Dead," says I. She just nodded her head, not getting a bit excited, rocking back and forth. Well, where is he?" I says. Not knowing what to say, she just pointed upstairs. Well, like that, I got up with the idea of going up there. I walked from there to here, and then I said, well, what'd he die of?" "He got a rope around his neck," said she. Just went on pleating at her apron. Well, I thought I might need help. I went out and called Harry. We went upstairs, and there he was, just a blind.
I think I'd rather you point that out upstairs when we get up there. All right, just go on now with the rest of your story.
Well, my first thought was to get that rope off. He looked up. But Harry, he went up to him and he said, "No, he's dead all right. We better not touch anything." So we come back downstairs and she was still sitting that same way. I said, has anybody been notified, Mrs. Wright?" "No," she said, "unconcerned." "Well, now, who did this?" Harry said to Mrs. Wright. "I don't know," she says. "You don't know," says Harry. "No," says she. "Well, weren't you sleeping in the bed with him?" says Harry. "Yes," says she, "but I was on the inside." "You mean somebody put a rope around his neck and strangled him, and you didn't wake up?" Harry said. "I didn't wake up," she said, "after him." Well, we must have looked as if we didn't see how that could be, for after a minute she said, "I sleep sound." Well, Harry was going to ask more questions, but I said maybe we ought to let her tell her story first to the sheriff or the coroner. So Harry went fast as he could to River's place where there was a telephone.
Then what did Mrs. Wright do when she knew you'd gone to the corner?
Well, she moved from that chair to this one right here, and she just kind of sat there with her hands held together looking down. Now, I got the feeling that I'd make some conversation, so I said I'd come see if John wanted to put in a telephone. Then she laughed. Then she stopped. She looked at me, scared. I don't know. Maybe it wasn't scared. I wouldn't like to say it was. But soon Harry got back, and then Dr. Lloyd came, and then you, Mr. Peters. And I guess that's all I know, but you don't.
Well, I guess we'll go upstairs and then out to the barn and around there. You're convinced there was nothing important here? Nothing that would point to any motive?
Nothing here but kitchen things.
Here's a nice mess.
Oh, her fruit. It did freeze. She worried about that when it grew so cold. She said if her fire would go out, the jars would break.
Well, you beat the women. Help her murder and worry about her preserves.
Well, I guess before we're through, she may have something more important than preserves to worry about.
Well, women are used to worrying over trifles.
And yet, for all their trouble, troubles and worries. What will we do without ladies? Dirty towels. Not much of a housekeeper, would you say, ladies?
There's a great deal of work to be done on our farm.
Well, to be sure. And yet I know of some Dixon County farmhouses which do not have such roller towels.
Well, those towels get dirty off quick. Men's hands are not always as clean as they.
Loyal to your sex, I see. But you and Mrs. Wright were neighbors. I suppose you were friends too.
I did not see much of her of late years. I've not been in this house so long.
What was that? You didn't like her?
Oh, I don't like her all well enough. Farmer's wives got their hands full, Mr. Henderson, and then
Yes.
never seemed to manage.
No. Not cheerful. I shouldn't say she had a hominess.
Well, I don't know what's wrong with you.
You mean they didn't get on very well?
No, I don't mean anything. I don't think a place the other children were drawn around.
I'd like to talk about that later. I want to go upstairs and get the lay of things up there. I suppose anything Mrs. Peters does will be all right. She was to take in some clothes for you, a few little things. We left in such a hurry yesterday. Yes, but I'd like to see what you take, Mrs. Peters, so I can keep an eye out for anything that may be of use to us.
Yes. Well, I don't hate to have men going into my kitchen, snooping around and criticizing.
Of course, it's no more than a duty.
Judy's all right, but I'll get to that deputy sheriff that came out to make the fire. He might have got a little of this on. Wish I thought of that sooner. Seems mean to talk about it and not having things slipped up when she had to come home in such a hurry.
She had bread fed.
Shame about her fruit. I wonder if it's all gone. No, I think maybe there's some left, Mrs. Peters. Look here, it's cherries too. I declare, I believe it's the only one. She's gonna feel awful bad after all the hard work and the hot weather. I remember the afternoon I put up my cherries.
Well, I really must get those things from the front room closet. Are you coming with me, Mrs. Hale? You can help me carry them. My, it's cold in there.
Right, it's close. I think maybe that's why she kept so much to herself. You know, she didn't even belong to the ladies' aid. I suppose she felt she couldn't do her part in there. We can do her enjoying things when we feel shabby. She used to wear pretty clothes, be lively. Back when she was Minnie Foster with the town girls singing in the choir. Oh my, that was 30 years ago. This all you was to take in.
Well, she said she wanted an apron. Funny thing to want, because there isn't much to get you dirty in jail, goodness knows. She said it was in the top drawer of the cabinet. Yes, here it is. And the little shawl that always hung behind the door. Ah, yes, there it is.
Mrs. Peters,
Yes, Mrs. Hale.
do you think she did it?
Oh, I don't know.
Well, I don't think she did. Asking about her apron and her little shawl and worrying about her fruit.
Mr. Peters says it looks bad for her. Mr. Henderson can be awful sarcastic in his speech, and he'll make fun of her saying she didn't wake up.
Well, I guess John Wright didn't wake up when he slipped that rope over his neck.
No, it's strange. They must have done it awful crafty and still. They say it's such a funny way to kill a man, making it all up like that.
That's what Mr. Hale says. He says there was a gun in the house, and that's what he can't understand.
Mr. Henderson said on the way over that what was needed for the case was a motive, something to show anger or sudden emotion.
Well, I don't see any signs of anger around here. I wonder how the men are getting on these things. You know, it seems kind of sneaky. Locking her up in town and coming in here and trying to get her own house turned against them.
But Mrs. Hale, the law is the law.
I suppose it is, Mr. Peters. You know, you better loosen up your things. You won't feel it when you go outside.
She's a piece of a quilt.
Oh, it's a log cabin pattern. It's pretty. I wonder, should I wonder or just not?
They wonder
Frank's fire didn't do very much good up there today. Let's get out to the barn and get that cleared up.
I don't see there's anything strange or taking up our time with little things, or waiting for them to get the evidence. See if there's anything to laugh about.
Of course, they have awful important things on their minds.
Mrs. Peters, look at this. This is the part she was working on with the sewer. See, all the rest is nice and even, and look at this here, it's all over the place. Why, it's as if she didn't know what she was about.
Well, what are you doing, Mrs. Hale?
Oh, I'm just fixing this ticker too, it's not sewing very good. That sewing always made me fidgety.
I don't think we ought to touch things.
Oh, I'll just finish up this little one here. Mrs. Peters,
Yes, Mrs. Hale.
what do you suppose she was so nervous about?
Oh, I don't know. I don't know that she was nervous. I'm sometimes so awful queer when I'm just tired. Well, I really must get these things wrapped up. They may be through sooner than we think. I wonder where I can find some paper and string.
In the cupboard, maybe?
Why, here's a bird cage. Did she have a bird, Mrs. Hale?
Why, I don't know what she did. You know, there was a man last year selling canaries real cheap. I don't know, she took one, maybe she did. She used to sing real pretty herself.
Seems strange to think of a bird here. But she must have had one, or why would she have a cage? I wonder where it went.
Cat got it, did it?
No, she didn't have a cat. She's got that feeling about cats some people have. Are you afraid of them? My cat got into her room and she got real upset and asked me to take it out.
My sister Bessie was just like that. It's queer, ain't it?
Well, look at this door. It's broke. One of the hinges are pulled apart.
It looks as if somebody did rough with it.
Why, yes.
What's up, Mr. Hale?
I wish they were going to find any evidence there'd be about it. I don't like this place.
Well, I'm sure I'm awful glad you came with me, Mrs. Hale. It'd be lonesome for me sitting here alone.
It would, wouldn't it? I tell you what I do wish though, Mrs. Peters. I wish I had come out here sometime when she was here. I wish I had.
Well, of course, you were all busy with your house and your children.
I could have come. I stayed away because I weren't cheerful. And that's why I ought to have come. I don't like this place. Maybe because it's out in the hollow, you know, it's here, look. I don't know what it is, but it's a lonesome place. It always was. But I sure wish I'd come see Minnie Foster sometime. I can see now.
Oh, you mustn't reproach yourself, Mrs. Hale. We often don't know how things are with other folks till something comes up.
Not having children. It makes less worse, but it makes an awful quiet house. And right, look, wait, working, don't come in when you come in. Did you know John Wright, Mrs. Peters?
Not to know him. I've seen him in town a few times. They say he was a good man.
Good, yes. Well, he made his dance and he didn't drink. He kept his word as good as well with most, I guess, but he was a hard man, Mrs. Peters. Just to pass the time of day. Like a cold wind that gets to the love. Tell you what. Why don't you take that pill in with you when you go? I'll take it for mine.
I think that's a nice idea, Mrs. Hale. There couldn't possibly be any objection to it, could there?
Just what would I take?
I wonder if all her patches are in here and her things.
Well, here's some red. I bet some of her sewing things are in here. What a pretty box. Looks like something somebody might give you. I bet her scissors are in here. Oh, now there's something wrapped up in a piece of silk.
Oh, that's not her scissors.
Oh, Mrs. Peters,
It's the bird.
well, Mrs. Peters, its neck. Look at its neck. It's all other side too.
Somebody wrung its neck.
Well, ladies, have we decided if she was going to quilt it or not?
We think she was going to knot it.
Well, that's interesting. I'm sure. Is the bird flown?
Cat got it.
Is there a cat?
Well, not now. They're superstitious, you know. They leave.
No sign of anyone having come from the outside. Their own road. Let's get upstairs again and go over it piece by piece. It would have had to have been someone who knew exactly.
Back that bird. She was gonna bury it. It was pretty obvious.
When I was a girl, my kitten, there was a boy took a hatchet, and before my eyes, and before I could get there, if they hadn't held me back, I would have hurt him.
I wonder what it would feel like. Never having any children in the house. Right when the like this bird, the thing that sighed, she used to say, killed that too.
We don't know who killed the bird.
I knew John right.
It was an awful thing that happened here that night, Mrs. Hale. Killing a man while he slept, slipping a rope around his neck that choked the life out of him.
His neck choked the life out of him.
We don't know who killed him. We don't know.
If there had been years and years of nothing, and then a bird to send to you, the awful still left in the room still.
I know what stillness is. When we homesteaded in the Dakotas, after my first baby died, and he was just 2 years old, and me with no other than.
I soon you suppose we're going to be through finding the evidence.
I know what stillness is. The law has got to punish crime, Mrs. Hale.
I wish you had known Minnie Foster when she wore a white dress and blue and stood up on that bar and said, I wish I could come over and see it sometimes. That was a crime. That was a crime. Who's going to punish that?
We mustn't take on.
Oh, I might have known she needed help. I know what things to be for women. You know, it's weird things. We all live close together. And we all live all apart. We all look at the same thing. It's just a different kind of the same thing. You know what I would do if I was you? I wouldn't tell her that if we were stalking. Tell her, it's all right. Take that in the show to her. She will never know who's gone or not.
My, it's a good thing the men were here. And they just laugh, getting all stirred up about a little thing like a dead canary. As if that could have anything to do with when they just laugh.
Maybe they would. Maybe they would.
No, Peters. It's all perfectly clear except the reason for doing it. But you know women and juries. If there was some definite thing, something to show, some connection to this strange way of doing it.
Well, I've got the team hooked up. Very cold out there.
Yeah, I'm gonna stay back here a while myself. You can send Frank back for me, can't you? I wanna go over everything. I'm not satisfied we can't do better.
You want to see what Mrs. Peters is going to take in?
No, they're not very dangerous things the ladies have picked out. And Mrs. Peters doesn't need supervising. For that matter, a sheriff's wife is married to the law. You ever think of it that way, Mrs. Peters?
Not just that way.
Married to the law. George, I just want you to come here for a minute. We ought to take a look at these windows.
Windows.
We'll be right out, Mr. Hale.
Well, Henry, at least we found out she was not going to quilt it. She was going to, what is it called, ladies?
We call it knotted, Mr. Henderson.
Okay. I hope that you see the irony of several things there. They give you a little bit of historical context at the beginning, talking about women not able to vote and the power that women have or don't have at various times. Also the title Trifles, right? Full of irony. So I appreciate that very much. I won't say too much about that because I wanted you to get a feel for it, to think about it. You'll probably want to watch that again or read it again just to get a feel for what you want to say about it. Keep in mind, as you were watching it, I kept my cursor over this button so that you could see the timing at all times in case you wanted to write down a timestamp for a quote. Okay, so let's get rid of that. So again, when you're doing the Module 5 discussion about trifles, you're going to answer these questions. How and why does Mrs. Peter change in the play? It's an interesting one. So dynamic character versus a non-dynamic character or passive character. Next, would you say that her view of right and wrong changes or deepens, or what would you say about that, right? Especially that last comment about being married to the law, right? Give 2 details from the play, plot, stage direction, setting, dialogue, to support your position. Now, you watched it. Of course, when you're watching it, you don't see the stage directions. When you're reading it, you're going to see the stage directions on there. And so when you may want to watch it and read it just so you get a feel for both, how that might work. Finally, reflect on the meaning of the title in relationship to the overall theme of the play. What are we talking about with trifles? You can think about lots of different things with trifles. There's a dessert that's the trifle, right? There's trifles as in things that aren't that important. There are things that, yeah, I'll let you kind of think about that for a little bit in your answer. Okay, so we're going to move now to the thing we're going to spend the most time on. We're going to be moving into Module 6 as well, and that is the work called Fences. Now, we're going to take a look at something for fences, but it's not a full part. So you're going to still need to read this. This is just a clip. This is from Broadway, so I hope you enjoy it. And I will provide you with this link if you want to look at it again. It's easy to find. This is not the only option available, so you may want to take a look at some other ones. I'm not showing the whole one because we only have an hour, so this is just a clip. But notice over here on the right-hand side, you can see, of course, the Denzel Washington Viola Davis one, which I recommend you watching the whole thing. And there's lots of different options for other productions, and there's lots of them, right? So here we go.
They're standing there staring at me, hoping
See, just like that. You want bound over one another here? I said bound over hell. We can settle this right now. Seemed like you got fell back when I said that. And all the cold went out. I reached down, I grabbed that sickle, I threw it as far as I could throw it, and me and him commenced to wrestling. We wrestled for 3 days and 3 nights. I can't say where I got the strength from. Every time he tried to get the best of me, I reached way deep down inside myself, find the strength to do him one better.
Every time Troy tell that story, he find different ways to tell it, different things to make up about it.
I ain't making up nothing. I'm telling you the facts of what happened. I wrestled with death for 3 days and 3 nights, and I'm standing here to tell you about it. All right. At the end of the 3rd night, we done weakened each other to where we can't hardly move. Dick stood up, he threw on that robe, had a white robe with a hood on it. He threw on that robe and went out to look for that sickle. Said, I'll be back. See, just like that. I'll be back. I said, yeah, but you're going to have to find me.
Let the boy have $10, Troy.
The hell are you looking at? I ain't got no $10. You know what I do with my money. Go on, give him $10 if you want him to have it.
I will, just as soon as you turn it loose.
There it is. $76.42. You see this bone? I ain't gonna get but 6 of that back.
You ought to stop telling that lie. He lying.
Thanks, Rose. Look, I gotta run. I'll see y'all later. Wait a minute. You gonna say thanks, Rose, and you ain't gonna look to see where she got that $10 from. You see how they do me, Bono? I know she got it from you, Pop. Thanks. I'll give it back to you. There you go, telling another lie. Time I see that $10, you gonna be owing me 30 more. See you, Mr. Bono. Take care, Ryan. Thanks, Pop. I'll see you again. I don't know why that boy don't get him a decent job and take care of that woman he got. He be all right, Troy. The boy's still young. The boy is 34 years old.
Let's not get off into all that.
Look here, I got to be going. I got to be getting on. Lucille gonna be waiting.
You see this woman, Bono? I love this woman. I love this woman so much, it hurts. I love her so much, I done run out of ways of loving her, so I got to go back to basics. Don't you come by my house Monday morning and talk about time to go to work, because I'm going to still be stroking.
Troy, stop it.
I ain't sparing him no mind, Rose. That ain't nothing but gin talk. Go on, Troy. I see you Monday.
Don't you come by my house, nigga. I done told you what I'm going to be doing. Can I ask you a question? The hell you got to ask me? Mr. Stewicki, the one you got the questions for. How come you ain't never liked me? Like me? Who the hell said I got to like you? What law is there say I got to like you? Want to stand up in my face and ask a damn fool-ass question like that, talking about liking somebody? Come here when I'm talking to you. Straighten up, goddammit. I asked you a question. What law is there to say I got to like you? None. Well, all right then. Don't you eat every day? Answer me when I talk to you. Don't you eat every day? Yeah. Nigga, as long as you in my house, you put a sir on the end of it when you talk to me. Yes, sir. You eat every day. Yes, sir. Got a roof over your head. Yes, sir. Got clothes on your back. Yes, sir. Why you think that is? Because of you. Hell, I know it's because of me, but why you think that is? Because you like me. Like, I go out of here every morning, bust my butt, putting up with them crackers every day, because I like you. You about the biggest fool I ever saw. It's my job. It's my responsibility. You understand that? A man supposed to take care of his family. You live in my house, sleep your behind on my bedclothes, fill your belly with my food because you my son. You my flesh and blood. Not because I like you. Because it's my duty to take care of you. I owe a responsibility to you. Let's get this straight right here before we get along any further. I ain't got to like you. Mr. Rand don't give me my money come payday because he like me. He give it to me because he owes me. I don't give you everything I got to give you. I give you your life. Me and your mama worked that out between us, and liking your black ass wasn't part of the bargain. Now don't you try and don't you like worried about whether somebody like you or not. You best be making sure they doing right by you. You understand what I'm saying? Yes, sir. Then get the hell out of my face and get on down.
Why don't you go ahead and now you're just trying to be like you.
I don't want him to be like me. I want him to get as far away from my life as he possibly can. You're the only decent thing ever happened to me, Rose. I wish him that. But I don't wish him nothing else for my life. Decided 17 years ago that boy wasn't going to get involved in no sports. Not after what they did to me in sports.
Why don't you admit you were too old for the major leagues? For once, why don't you admit that?
What do you mean too old? Don't come telling me I was too old. I just wasn't the right color. Hell, I'm 53 years old, can do better than Selkirk's 269 right now.
How is you going to play ball when you're over 40? Sometimes I can't get no sense out of you.
I got good sense, woman. I got sense enough not to let that boy get hurt over no sports. Mothering the boy too much, worrying about whether people like him or not.
Everything that boy do, he do for you. He want you to stay. Good job, son, that's all.
I ain't got time for that, Rose. He's alive, he's healthy. He got to make his own way. I made mine. Nobody gonna hold his hand when he get out there in the world.
Times have changed from when you were young, Troy. People change. The world's changing around you. You can't even see it.
Woman, I do the best I can do. I come in here every Friday. I carry a sack of potatoes and a bucket of lard. You all line up at the door with your hands stretched out. I give you the lint from my pockets. I give you my sweat and my blood. I ain't got no tears. I done spent them. We go upstairs in that room at night, I fall down on you and try to blast a hole into forever. I get up Monday morning, find my lunch on the table, go out, make my way, find my strength to get me through to next Friday. That's all I got, bro. That's all I got to give. Can't give nothing else. I'm trying the best I can to explain it to you. It's not easy to admit that I've been standing in the same place for 18 years.
Well, I've been standing with you. I've been right here with you, Troy. I got a life too. I gave 18 years of my life to stand in the same spot as you. Don't you think I ever wanted other things? Don't you think I had dreams and hopes? What about my life? What about me? Don't you think it ever crossed my mind to want to know other men? That I want to lay up somewhere and forget about my responsibilities? That I want someone to make me laugh so I can feel good? You're not the only one who's got wants and needs. But how about you, Joe? I took all my feelings, my wants and needs, my dreams, and I buried them inside you. I planted a seed and watched and prayed over it. I planted myself inside you, waited to bloom. And it didn't take me no 18 years to realize the soil was hard and rocky and it was never gonna bloom. But I held on to you, Troy. I held you tighter. You was my husband. I owed you everything I had, every part of me I could find and give you. And upstairs in that room with the darkness falling in on me, I gave everything I had to try and erase the doubt that you wasn't the finest man in the world, and wherever you was going, I was going to be there with you because you was my husband. Because that's the only way I was going to survive as your wife. You're always talking about what you give and what you don't have to give. But you take too. You take. And don't even know nobody's giving.
You say I take and don't give.
Troy, you hurt me.
You say I take and don't give.
Troy, you hurt me.
I'm gonna give you everything I got. Don't you tell that lie on me. Don't you tell that lie on me. Don't you tell me about no taking.
Troy, no. Troy, no. Please, Troy.
All right, see? That's strike two. You stay away from around me, boy. You living with a full count. That's strike two. Don't you strike out. All right, Mr. Depp. See now? I tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to take and build me a fence around this yard. You stay over there till you're ready for me. And you come on. Bring your army. Bring your shit. Bring your wrestling clothes. I ain't gonna fall down on my vigilance this time. You ain't gonna sneak up on me no more. When you ready for me, when the top of your lips say Troy Maxson, that's when I want you to come around here. You come up and knock on the front door. Ain't nobody else got nothing to do with this. This is between you and me, man to man. You stay on the other side of that fence till you're ready for me. Then you come up and knock on that front door. Any time you want. I'll be ready for you.
Okay, so now you've seen some clips from it. Hopefully that whetted your appetite a little bit to see the whole thing. Again, you can see that off here on the right, there's a lot of different options for you to see those things, right? Okay, so keeping in mind, I wanted to point out one thing. I promised you I would point this out, right? Let's take a look back through all the different things. Notice you can find the EBSCOhost stuff through Indiana Tech for finding all those things. Keep in mind that you definitely want to put in peer-reviewed. There's a little box for that if you're looking for scholarly stuff, right? And also, let's go back to here. When you're doing your annotated bibliography, we have provided you with these 5 different articles already. Banish them with forgiveness. Baseball is history, so you can see even from the clip that baseball is a major thing. Whether you like baseball or don't like baseball, whether you're a parent or not a parent, you're going to read this or see it very differently, right? If I had read it before I had children, I would have seen a whole lot of different things than I do now as a parent with 3 children. So all of you are going to see some different things from the assignment. I don't expect you to all come up with exactly the same thing in your annotated bibliography or in the paper itself. They should be very different. So keeping this in mind, also keep in mind next week when you write the paper, and let's kind of look ahead to Module 6 so you can see what those are about. Okay, so this is next week, not this week, but you'll be thinking about this when you read all those articles. After reading or watching Fences and then researching the scholar analysis of the play, your job is to write a short paper in which you quote, summarize, and paraphrase 2 different scholarly critiques of the play, and these will be from the articles that you summarized in the annotated bibliography. So you can see how those articles that you read are going to be utilized. Make sure that you do, and we'll go through this next week, but just so that you know what you're doing, right? Here's what you're going to be talking about next week. So let's wait a second, and then I'll pull it up. Okay, so this is what we'll be going over this again next week, but this is what we want to see. There we go. Okay, so notice that you are not going to be just summarizing the play, you're going to be critiquing it. Okay? You're going to be working in the literary analysis of scholars who do this for a living, so not your own interpretation. You'll be picking 2. When you look through those and read them all, you're going to see that people don't agree. Scholars don't agree. Again, they're going to be coming at watching something from different points of view, just like yourselves. So you'll be picking ones that perhaps you agree with or disagree with. It doesn't make any difference, but you'll be talking about those next week. Okay. You're writing a comparison or contrast paper, so similar to what we've written already before. You'll be, like you did with AP or Arabic or some of the shorter stories, you'll be doing something a little bit longer like this, but a similar structure, so hopefully that initial one helped you figure out how to do that. You'll be writing no less than 2.5 pages in length eventually by next week. Okay, so we'll go through this next week, but again, we'll talk through the umbrella approach or the block approach and how you might do that. But I want you to be thinking about that when you're watching things. this week, so that again, you can keep track of maybe some of the timestamps where you might want to quote something from it, and the particular articles that you actually use. Okay, so I don't think anybody's here live today, so I'm not going to take any questions. Let me double check that to make sure. Okay, so with that, I'm going to wish you an excellent week of drama, and I'll see you next week.